Hi, it's Money44 here, and today I welcome you in the review of the G36c from JG, the JG638. Let's begin. If you're a beginner, I'm sure that you're thinking to yourself, what replica should I buy for start? As a beginner, maybe you don't want to buy a high-end replica or just don't have funds for that. If you're looking for a replica in about 100 euros, I'm sure that you saw in the shops the JG G36c, or how JG likes to call it, the JG608 or JG638. This is the 638 version is an updated version of the 608 variant. And this is what I'm gonna talk about today. I'm gonna show you how it looks outside, but also I will disassemble it. I will show you how it performs, and I will tell you a few things about the common problems of these replicas. Also, I'm gonna tell you a few things about my G36c that I have for a few years now. But let's start with a little unboxing.
In the black cardboard box we will find the manuals, 8.4 volt 1100 mAh nickel metal hydride battery, a simple charger, pack of 0.2 gram BBs, cleaning rod, and of course the replica with a high cap magazine. Let's take a closer look. JG638 is a replica of the Heckler & Koch G36 rifle, in this case the C variant, the shortest one, because you must know that the model is available in various lengths and configurations. The replica from outside is mostly made of thick plastic with a matte surface. Except for screws and metal pins, parts made from metal are the iron sights, a muzzle brake, trigger, stock release button, fire selectors, wrist rail under the front, sling attachment on the front, and an insert in the ear of your rear sling mount. The buttstock is made from rubber. The replica weighs over 2.5 kilograms and measures respectively 72 cm with stock extended and 50 cm with folded. Despite the fact that it's made mostly of plastic, the replica doesn't feel cheap. The body walls are quite thick, thanks to which the replica is not very prone to bending, only the barrel is loose. And a plastic squeaking may appear in the replica with stronger pressure applied. The selector in replica is ambidextrous and gives us three settings: safe, single fire, and full auto. In the trigger guard you will find a button that in the real steel is responsible for releasing the bolt. In the replica it doesn't do anything and it's easy to lose when disassembling the replica. The pistol grip itself is integrated with the lower body. It is very simple and has no texture, improving the grip. To fold the stock, press this button and fold it to the right until it engages the tab on the body. To unfold the stock, pull it slightly up so that it comes off the hook. In addition, in the JG638 version, after folding the stock, we have access to the adjustment in the spring guide, which we can change the power of the replica by screwing the Allen screw or loosen it, but more on that later. The upper wrist rail with length of 24 cm is made of plastic and reinforced with a metal bar, on which we will find iron sights in the form of unadjustable front sights and a vertically and horizontally adjustable rear sight, which has two settings differing in the size of the hole. To remove the magazine, push the button in front of the trigger guard forward. The high cap from the kit plugs in easily and sits nicely in the replica. On the front of the replica we have one wrist rail available from below and two places on the sides for mounting additional rails available separately. I will only add that while moving the replica you can hear loose nuts inside the grip. Due to the folding stock, the wiring ending with a small Tamiya plug we will find in the front. To get to it you need to pull out the pin holding the front and slide the front itself forward. Unfortunately, in the standard front there is not much space for a battery, except for the ones from the set. I was able to fit an Turnigy Nanotech 7.4 volt 1100 mAh LiPo and a larger 11.1 LiPo, but that was quite tight. In the front on the right you will also find a 20 amp fuse. If the replica stops firing for some reason, I will recommend checking the fuse if it's not burnt. After unscrewing the small hex screw under the flash hider, we can take it off so we can get access to a 40mm counterclockwise thread on which we can install other accessories such as barrel extensions, suppressors or flash hiders. To get to the rotor hop-up chamber, pull the reloading handle located under the upper rail. The handle is double-sided, but the trick I will tell you: when you push it straight backwards, we can lock it in the rear position, pushing it down so that the window itself will not close. Once set, simply unlock it. turn the wheel up to increase the hop up and turn down to reduce it. Before we look inside the replica, let's first check the accessories that we get in the set. The nickel hydride metal 8.4V 1100 mAh battery is a bit of a relic of the past. Batteries of this type have unfortunately the so-called memory effect and perform poorly at low temperatures. For beginning it's enough, but I would recommend replacing it with 7.4V LiPo. The battery has dimensions of about 109 by 36 by 19 mm, and if you're looking for a battery in its place, search for a similar or smaller one. The charger that we get in the set is a regular power supply, with which we should charge the battery in about 5 hours. It automatically turns off when the battery is charged. The charger does not make a good impression and I do not recommend using it. If you want to use the standard battery, I'll recommend buying another charger, and it's best to invest in the LiPo and a charger as soon as possible. The ramrod is 51 cm long. On one side it's for cleaning the barrel and on the other side it's the wedge for pushing out the jammed BBs in the barrel. The high-cap magazine is made from plastic, should hold about 470 BBs and is wound from the below. To fill it, just open this flap. It also has tabs to allow it to connect with other magazines in G36 standard. Unfortunately, because of its thickness, it practically does not fit as standard pouches in most vests and chest rigs. It should fit a double pouch. For your own convenience, I recommend buying a replica with factory-fitted standard magazine adapter or install such an adapter over time by yourself. The replica has a fairly simple design, so let's see how it disassembles and what hides inside. First, take out the magazine. Now we can remove the front by knocking out the pin and pulling the front forward. Now we will take out the magazine adapter. It holds on 2 tabs and 1 pin, after knocking which we can pull the adapter down after pressing the magazine release button. Do not confuse the pins, the one from the magazine adapter has 4 tabs. Now we can unplug the plug connecting the front wiring with the gearbox. It's located underneath the hop-up chamber. Then unscrew the 3 screws on the right side of the front. You may have to push them out with a small Allen key on the other side. Now we can carefully pull out the barrel assembly with the chamber to the front. To remove the chamber, press it and turn it 90 degrees to the left. The chamber with 25 cm barrel should come out. Now we pull out the bottom part of the body with the gearbox. To do this, unscrew the Allen screw which we will find after folding the stock. After removing it, the bottom part should come out without any problem. What remains for us is to pull the gearbox from the bottom of the body. To do this, we need to knock out this pin and unscrew the large screw at the bottom of the pistol grip. We set the selector to semi and carefully pull the gearbox up, all the time checking that we do not break the selector plate and that the button I mentioned earlier does not fall out. We have the gearbox, pull it out. Until here you can disassemble the replica without losing the warranty. Now I will show you what parts are sitting inside the gearbox, but I will not delve into how to disassemble it. It's a topic for another episode. In the replica I have, there was done an initial checkup at gunfire. The gearbox had been greased and the gears have been shimmed. By default, these gearboxes have a small amount of very thick grease and a minimum of shimming, but I can't show you this today, so you have to take my word for it. The plastic piston has one metal tooth and a standard plastic piston head. The cylinder has a notch reducing its capacity adapted for the length of the barrel. The plastic cylinder head has 2 O-rings. The replica has a plastic nozzle without sealing with a length of 25.75 mm. The whole system in the replica that I have keeps the seal quite nicely, both on the inserted and extended nozzle. The installed spring has a regular pitch of the coil. An interesting thing about this replica is the adjustable spring guide, which by tightening the screw can be extended from about 39 mm to just over 53 mm, which just give us a few extra FPS, as we will see when I chrono it. I have to add, by compressing the spring for a long period of time, it's possible for it to lose its power. The replica has 7 mm metal bushings and standard short motor. Okay, it's time for chrono and shooting test. I chrono the replica on 0.2 gram BBs using a 7.4 LiPo battery. On unscrewed guide, the replica that I have generates on average about 341 FPS with a 3.7 FPS spread, and the rate of fire is 12.78 BBs per second. On tightened guide, the replica generates on average about 373 FPS with a spread of 4.1 FPS. The rate of fire fell to 11.74 BBs per second. Let's see how this result translates into range. I use 0.28 gram BLE's BBs and I have hop-up set up with a light overhop to maximize the BB flight. The replica's power on the guide is set to minimum. At 30 meters there is no major problem with hitting a target of the size of the torso. There are single shots outside the target. At 40 meters is not also bad. A large part of the shots hit the target with occasional flyers to the sides. At 50 meters hitting the target is quite difficult, but not impossible. We can save ourselves with the short bursts, but they have quite a wide spread. "60 meters is an absolute maximum range. Hitting the target from this distance is very difficult. The viewers told me that the G36 shot around 20 meters. The reason for this is very simple. The problem is too soft knob installed in the factory. So I will show you how to quickly fix this problem. We have to replace the knob, which is too soft and not precise enough. Now I will show you how to do it. For this we need to remove the barrel with the chamber. Then pull the spring from the barrel. Now the clip. It should go down. Pull the knob off. We pull out this spacer and we have the access to the knob. We will pull the old knob and replace it with a new one. We can make it from a ballpoint pen rifle. Just cut about 3.5 mm from the end of the rifle and the knob is ready. We mount it in place and put the chamber together. In turn, the knob, a spacer, the knob, a clip, a spring, and we mount everything in the replica.
This is how the replica works and looks out of the box, but how does it look after a few years of use? I have my G36c JG that I bought about 7 years ago, so I can tell you a few things about it.
When removing the barrel with the chamber, be careful not to break the catches on the chamber, otherwise it will fall out of the mount. Honestly, I have this issue several years now, but I did not notice it affecting the replica's performance. The most common malfunction is the selectors falling off. To prevent this, make sure that the Allen screws locking the selector are tightened. They can be secured with a medium thread glue. After long usage, it can happen that the replica on semi shots a few shots. Most often it's caused by the wear of the trigger elements and the contacts. In addition, the plastics may start to squeak after some time, especially if it's often taken apart for repairs and upgrades.
So, will I recommend this replica for a beginner? Sure, every replica can have some problems after a few years of use. And be honest, this is a budget replica, so come on. I know that some of you are not thrilled with the performance this replica has, but for a beginner it's just enough. And always you can just upgrade it after some time. It's a good thing for a beginner to have a weaker replica, because there's a less chance to do some unintentional harm because of your lack of experience.
My G36 at its peak had about 440 FPS and a rate of fire of about 25 BBs per second. And I achieved this by upgrading the internals for mainly SAH parts, packing the M120 SAH spring and replacing the motor for F1 Tornado high torque and a barrel for PPS 363mm one. So as you can see, budget set of parts. Of course, I rounded the corners of the cylinder window and shimmered the gears. Over time I added a quick spring change system and installed a Perron AB MOSFET. And in this configuration the replica has been used for several years now, and although I rarely reach for it now, I know that it's ready for a game all the time. So as you can see, it can be a replica for a while.
If you have this replica, I would recommend to clean your barrel and, if you can, change the hop-up backing to at least Systema Energy one. Don't do a upgrade straight away, play a few games, look how it performs and Just then, think what do you want to modify in it. And that's all for today. I hope that I showed you everything that was worth mentioning in this replica. If you liked today's video, tell me in the comments. And tell me what do you think about this replica. And for now, thanks for watching and see you next time.